This podcast will hopefully contain words or statements of obscene, pornographic, or immoral character. You have been warned.
Received dozens of emails from people that'll listen to the podcast. The podcast.
Wow,
The
it
podcast.
is pretty much.
Anyway, welcome to number 82. How you feeling about 82?
It's a good number. I like 82. I like even numbers. I don't like odd numbers. I've never been an odd number person, but that being said, some of my favorite numbers are odd numbers though. So I don't know. It's
Lucky
kinda
number
weird.
7.
Well, I don't know, just sort of like what do they call them? Like
Prime numbers.
like synchronicity numbers. Like if you have numbers in your life that you see a lot that are supposed to be like linked to spirituality or whatever. Like a lot of those numbers in my life are more like odd numbers, I guess, but I like the visual. It's weird. Like I don't even know if I've ever even thought about this before, but like I've always liked even numbers based on just how the numbering like makes me feel, which is weird.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't even describe that. Like
You just like it that they're divisible so you can conquer them.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there
You
is
can
some like,
conquer them.
maybe. I don't know. I've never given
the-
it this much thought ever.
Where
but
the
yeah.
odd number, you can't, because there's always going to be a winner between the two. Either the first half or the second half, depending on how you cut it. There will never be even. It's part of your domination plan, I believe.
Maybe. Yeah,
I'm
maybe
just
it
saying.
is some part of my personality that is, like some like therapist would enjoy like unpacking that or something, and like they'd come up with some they would they'd like get really excited for you to start talking about that because then they think they know like 20 things about you because of that.
Oh my God. I'm in the middle of, not reading, because we know I don't do that. Re-listening to Cabal, which is the Clive Barker Nightbreed story.
Okay.
And it's that whole programming of the psychiatrist to make the guy think he's a killer versus actually being a killer. So
Right.
I think that psychiatrist is ready for you. Like they're going to be sitting in the fucking chair going, yes, I got one.
Yeah, I got one. Yeah. Well, I was never good at math, so like math was always my worst subject, so I don't know if maybe that has something to do with like maybe because I favored even numbers that affects like how I was good at math or something. I don't know.
You know what I have to say is I think that math shit is crazy because we're taking crazy math classes to whatever 1% of somebody who's going to actually follow that shit into as a career. Point percentiles, like physics. Like how many people apply that in their everyday world? Besides physicians?
I mean, I've come to the conclusion that probably not, maybe it's probably not like this so much anymore. I have no idea, but when we were in school, I think it was the math that we were given in high school it had nothing to do with needing that math in life. It was more about separating and weeding out.
That is a very good fucking thought process.
Yeah, I mean, like if you really, as an adult, as a middle-aged adult, if you really think back on the schooling we had, a lot of it was based on just figuring out what kids were going to be sent to what careers.
What is it? The wheat from the shaft?
Yeah, there you
I
go.
believe that is the term, separating the wheat from the chaff. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Somebody can correct me. I know we have plenty of people that like doing it, so it's okay. Bring it on, fuckers.
Because there's definitely stuff that I learned in high school that is stuff I did utilize as I got older. But yeah, I don't know. I think that I feel like most really good life skills are ones that you learn in elementary school, really.
Yeah, I don't think anything past middle school. And middle school's even questionable. Loki had to come in to get a toy, apparently.
That's cool.
Did you hear him squeaking them?
Mm-mm.
Oh, he's like, "Urf, urf." It's fucking ridiculous. But no, I totally agree with you. I think there's a point where it's more of a separation. And with that being said, should those, if you were going to do that, shouldn't they fucking like push and maybe they did and I didn't notice, but push the kids into whatever area, not push, but let them explore those areas more in depth before they even leave fucking school instead of letting them come out fucking clueless. I mean, it wouldn't have worked for my kid, but
Well, I know that there's, the education system in Europe is drastically different. I know there's a lot of countries over there that, like when a kid's in elementary school, they kind of figure out like what their, sort of like skill set is, and they actually put them into like a learning progression that where they set on that goal. Like maybe they don't stick with that, but like it gets them in the right ballpark. Whereas like, here in this country, when we were coming up, it's like you're just learning. I don't even know. It's like you're just basically learning shit to function in the machine of capitalism, basically. I'm not trying to get all like deep into shit like that.
Well,
but
I know the kids now, they do have a pathway, like, so starting out in like their freshman year, they kind of pick which direction they feel like they want to go.
yeah, that's good.
And there are different pathways, but still, let's say that you had a person who was into arts and fine arts and something else. Why in the fuck are we taking? Why do they need fucking advanced algebra to pass?
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that I mean, totally. And then
that's
like
to me, yeah, it's like, well, why waste their time and your time? And, put them in a place, not to the pressure of trying to learn something that you're never going to use past 11th grade. Like, why even fucking do that?
yeah, and I mean like I said, I can't speak to what things are like now because maybe things have improved and I hope they have, but when you really look back on our education and like the time we went to school, and I'm sure it was way better for us than like our parents. So, I mean, things improved, but people like us who were more art inclined or musically inclined or like creatively inclined, the classes that we had, offered to us were like electives and sort of like considered like go nowhere classes. Like I remember in elementary school being like really affected by, I don't know if you guys had this or not, but we had tag, which was back then it was talented and gifted. So, you saw a lot of your peers get tested and put into this tag group. And then I don't know, like, I think that like fucks little kids up. I know it like fucked me up because I remember, like you're a little kid and you see your classmates who you're friends with on the playground get separated from you and get to take these like special classes. And it's kind of like demoralizing. You're like, why don't I get to do that? Like I have other valuable assets too, but they just weren't being nurtured because they don't see you as a kid that's going to be valuable to society, basically.
And how does that standardized test show that you wouldn't excel in a class given where it was something so specific that you could what do you want to say, embrace and kind of make your own. Like it's kind of a shitty, well, I mean, I think things have changed, I hope, but I still think there's a lot of shit that they do to the kids. It's not really necessary.
Yeah. And I mean, really, to kind of go on this tangent for a little bit, what aspects of sort of being like demoralized as an 8-year-old kid, what effect did that have on pushing us into the world that we currently live in our interest? Like, how much of a subconscious level was seeing your peers be told they're like smarter than you begin to, at a very early age, make you sort of like just question everything, maybe more than those kids were questioning it? And like, was that part of what led us to get into punk rock music and more of like counterculture ways of thinking? Was because at a very early age, we were being told by people we trusted that
we already didn't fit in.
Yeah, like, you guys don't fit in. Like, you can't be in this smart group. You're not as smart as these kids. So like, and almost in like a weird, sick way, they were doing us a favor and didn't even realize it.
I really wish I had the Judge Schmale's clip that says the world needs ditch diggers too, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because anytime I kind of have a conversation like this with people, like, I feel like that comment always comes up.
Dude, that fucking comment, anytime something like this rolls, that is exactly what comes in my head. But I totally fucking agree with you. But did that outcasting make you want to achieve more, but in a different way? You know,
maybe
because you were pushed out of that clique that those kids had no say. It was up to their parents to say whether they were going to be accepted or not. But I think, don't hold me to that, but I think I'm
sure there was probably studies that were done back in the day that showed that kids who tested highly to be in like talented and gifted type classes probably had more of a propensity to follow rules and to be obedient, which is like what they want people to be. So people like us who maybe weren't tested as highly generally were kids who less obedient, break rules. So like, we don't want those types of people in corporate America. We want like people who like obey, basically.
Yes, I'm looking for Roddy Piper putting on his fucking glasses. But I totally think it was. I mean, I was never. Yeah, that was definitely not me. Fuck, I still don't read because I don't like it. But I mean, with that being, it's like, but there are certain things that I think you're right. It's like that corporate America mindset. And I don't remember kids that were in it. I remember my ex was in it, like all of her life. And it's like they singled out kids. And from her side, it was, hey, you got singled out. And the disdain that happened grew even further, like where she hated everybody that was in her class just because they were different. So it's weird. And yeah, that's a horrible thing to fucking do to kids if you think about it.
And that's the thing too. I'm glad you made that point, because I should say that I don't for a second think that the kids in the smart kid class had it any easier. I think they had their own separate type of like mind fuck. Cause because I distinctly remember kids I was really good friends with in like second and third grade being removed from like being in like a separate classroom, and like the only time you got to see them was on the playground. And before that, we were all in the same class. So I'm sure that affected them as well, you know, like from the social aspect of, you know, why can't I hang out with my friends anymore just because like I'm better at this math, like, but now I can't hang out with my friend during the day. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a giant mind fuck for both sides.
Right. I think was that the advantage of actually moving on and going into like middle school, where all of a sudden you were still in your cliques, your schooling cliques, because that was how they were going to place you no matter what. But I was just wondering, because then you get into you know, when you do hit those classes like the electives and stuff, is when you started mixing with people you usually didn't see.
Yeah.
So it kind of brought everybody back to a little bit, but the programming's already there.
Well, and the other thing, it's funny that you mentioned about the electives and stuff, because that's exactly what happened to me. And this is so funny we're talking about this. This is shit I haven't like thought about in like literally probably like 35 years or something. But when I was a senior in high school, I took German all 4 years in high school. So senior year, we had German 4, and there was like pretty much like 3/4 of my class were all people. Some of them were people I went to elementary school with who were in this example, like kids who I got separated from and never had a class with them from like 3rd grade the whole way through to senior year in this German class. And then there was like, you know, people from other schools who I met in middle school and stuff who I never had classes with because they were always in like the smart kids class. And I only ever saw them at like lunch or whatever. But this German class that I had my senior year, I was like there was like maybe me and like 2 other people who were not amongst this like clique of smarter kids who were taking German 4. And I definitely remember having the thought process of like, like now, like basically like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like I'm here now, bitch.
Fucking suffered through 3 years of German to get here with you.
Yeah. Like, and it wasn't like I
no
cared.
offense, Mr. Nace.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he used to get so fucking pissed off because Nace in German, if you pronounce it like the German way, is Nase, and Nase is German for nose. So if he was like, if we were fucking with him, we'd call him Herr Nase, and he would get he'd be like writing on the chalkboard, and someone would be like Herr Nase, and he'd turn around and be like, who said it? Who said it?
Oh my god!
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about. Like I thought I had this weird feeling of like I had finally caught up and made it. Like now I'd been shunned for like 10 years, and like now I'm in with the smart kids. But yeah, I don't know. It
was a testament to your perseverance.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think German was just like an easy elective, and like I for some reason was like kind of decent at figuring it out and understanding it. But which literally served me no purpose in life whatsoever, other than like to say I know some German. And the one time that I went to Germany and I was able to actually have a conversation with someone. So it's like 4 years of high school German. I like literally used it one time in the wild, but the girl that I talked to, we were about the same age, and she was a bartender. And, you know, I mean, she obviously immediately knew we were American, and we were just she was giving her best broken English and stuff. And I was like, well, I know a little German. Like if I'd like to try to like talk with you. And she was like excited. And yeah, like we talked for like 5 minutes, and, it was cool. Like I really felt like I gave a foreigner like a really good impression of America. It's like I feel like anytime I travel to Europe, I'm always trying to like I want to like make people over here not think we're all a bunch of like fucking redneck imbeciles. So I don't know, she was like really impressed that I like could speak to her like so well.
That's actually cool. Yeah, I could never do that. It's just not going to happen.
And the funny thing is there's like a Judas Priest bar where we went to. And
Of course there is.
yeah, so we went to this Judas Priest bar, and it is actually the same town that has the Ramones bar there too. So we went to the Ramones bar one day, and then the other day we went to the Judas Priest bar. So the girl I talked to was at the Judas Priest bar, so that was pretty cool.
Fucking amazing. Yeah, that was a great weird tangent. But you know what's funny though is like, so that even still falls into that whole electives thing. Like, you spent not a quarter, it'd be a seventh of your high school career learning a language that you've used once.
So I've used it formally once in the wild with another physical person. But I will say this, there's been multiple times that I've been to Europe where knowing German has helped out, because a lot of the languages are sort of similar in a way. Like when we went to Iceland, German was very helpful there. There's a lot of very similar spellings and like wordings of things.
Right.
So from a reading standpoint, German helped me in Iceland.
Snuff films.
I don't know about that, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. There's been times where it's been helpful. I can't say that taking it all 4 years was necessarily worth it. Well, I really wish in retrospect, if I would have known that I was going to be living in California most of my adult life, I would have learned Spanish, because that would have been way more beneficial. But you know, whatever. Knowing a foreign language is like a cool little brag, I guess.
Actually, been thinking about, learning the Spanish. Not that we have a lot of Spanish speaking clients anymore, but I just feel
well, the cool thing about Spanish is once you know Spanish, you really can, about like 5 languages to a certain extent.
Because the Romantic ones, they all use similar.
Yeah. It's like Italian similar, and so
Italian, French, they're all close, I think. I think that's correct. I think Charles would say yes, that is correct.
So yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Like, I think whether or not it's something you are actively planning to utilize, I don't know. I think learning a foreign language is pretty cool. Something to do. Even if you can't speak it conversationally with anybody, just learn someone else's language. I don't know. It's cool.
There you go. And we don't want to get down to a one world language. That's bad.
Well, it really, I mean, if nothing else, when you travel abroad, you realize we're like the only country that doesn't know a second language. Like, most people know 2 or 3.
What are you trying to say?
I'm not really trying to say anything other than
I'm fucking with you. Yes, I know.
It's just a fact. I mean, do with that information as you will. But yeah, I mean, like, I think I've been the main place that I've been to where it seemed like people were pretty reluctant to speak English, and they actually, in my opinion, the people who I had experience with in this country, when they did speak English, it like maybe wasn't as good as other countries in Europe, but it was France. And I think it's pretty well known that the French don't love Americans, but the only reason we kind of got a little bit of respect when we were there is because Trisha knows French. So she could speak to people, and they obviously spot Americans from a mile away. So they sort of, I'd say 75% of our interactions in France were people coming at us with a preconceived attitude right out of the gates of you're American, so we already know what you're about. And then she'd start speaking French, and you could see the change happen immediately. You actually we respect you already because you're trying.
There is no way I would ever go to France without taking Charles. I would because of just that experience.
Yeah.
Because he is fluent to the part where they ask him where he's from regionally, not
Oh wow.
not from not knowing he's not from France. Like they want to know what region of France he's from because he's that fluent. And yeah, he has been to France every other year for the last fucking 40 years. So he's got the skills.
That's something that I feel like if you are someone who likes to travel abroad, that's learning a language to be able to like just drop into a place and just immerse into the culture that quickly. That's really cool.
Yeah.
He can actually go anywhere and just strike up a conversation. It's not just like survival second language.
Hamburger.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Well, yeah, even in Amsterdam too, like German helped me there too. Like I said, I think a lot of those countries, like I don't know the origins of languages and stuff, but
yeah, I think there are a few. Isn't German one of them? I forget how it's done, so I'm gonna shut up.
Well, so you went to you said you went to the Circle Jerks and Descendants, so you got like a redo.
I did. I got a redo on Circle Jerks, and I will take back all my negativity that I had after that show, and gonna blame it on the vids because it was a far better show. So it was, and I was stoked about this. No, there was no locals. It was basically the Adolescents opened, and then it was Circle Jerks and Descendants. And there was small gaps in between the bands. So I was kind of stoked because once it started rolling, it rolled.
I want to know your opinion on the Adolescents.
So this is going to sound rude. I still haven't looked, but I wanted to see if there was, and I know this is not probably true, but if there was something like Tony it's Tony. He was, I don't know where the fuck he was. Like he was there, but there was no presence. Like the rest of the band fucking shredded. Like for everything, they were like the opposite of, for everything I felt he wasn't giving, they were giving 2 times. Like the rest of the band was on fucking fire, and he was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's just fucking beat. He's tired from the tour, but there was no energy from him at all. It was kind of what I was bitching about the Circle Jerks. The last time we saw them, like, and the rest of the band had plenty of energy, but it was like he had nothing. Have you seen him?
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking, because we saw them, I guess it was beginning of last year. It was the Adolescents, Circle Jerks, and I think we had Negative Approach. I can't remember what the third band was, but the Adolescent, like, I was really excited to see them. I had never seen them because I had seen DI a bunch of times. I know, like, whatever, they sort of have like their little connection together as bands or whatever, but I love that first Adolescents record. I mean, that's like a classic, and I was really excited to see them. And honestly, I was thoroughly disappointed by them. Like, I thought everything you just said about the singer was kind of the same way when I saw him. Like, the band was really awesome and lively. He just kind of stood there, and apparently they have a lot more material than what I knew about.
Yeah.
I just sort of thought they were like a band who they have their like first record and like that's sort of what they're known for, and they just like play that in its entirety kind of thing. But they played like maybe 3 songs off of that, and the other like 10 songs, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck this shit is. And honestly, I found them to be kind of boring.
I know the first one, Brats and Battalions, I love. Like, that's a fucking just...
Oh, I remember. Okay, so I remember that record. I don't know if I've ever heard it the whole way through.
Dude,
but
it is a phenomenal fucker. Like, I was stoked because they went into Brats and Battalions, and I was like, oh. So, for everything that I want to say negative, and it's really not, it's just, you know what? The people get old, dude. I get it. they sounded fucking phenomenal. There's no takeaway on how they sounded. Like, they sounded awesome. But it was, there was no, it was going through the motions. It's like, we're gonna get through this fucking tour and I'm gonna be done. Yeah, it was weird. I was totally let down by that part of it. Like, I wanted even like a 25% more effort, I would have been stoked. Like, it didn't even feel like he warmed up as the set went. It was just like, you know, it was. And so that's why I said, you know, did he have some sort of issue that I don't know about, that I can cut him more slack? I don't fucking know, but I can tell you that it was just like, I was waiting for it and nothing happened. Like, you know, is like, maybe.
No, I totally do know, because that's what you just said sums up how I felt. I was like, I'm waiting for it, and it never happened.
It was like, you know, last song, dude, you could just a little pretend like you want to be here. Pretend like you're not cashing a fucking paycheck and going through it for the rest of the guys. Like, so, I mean, now I sound really fucking negative. Sorry, guys. You guys really did sound awesome fucking live. Like, it was, dude, I was stoked. Like, they sounded as good as I wanted them to sound. As a live band, it was tight. Shit sounded like, you know, I'm a little weird and I like to hear the shit the way it was on the record, and everything was kind of like that way. And the rest of the band was so fucking full of energy. And it was like, he was the fucking energy. He was a Colin Robinson walking around out there. He was just sucking down everybody's energy, but he really wasn't getting anything. He wasn't pumping up from it. It was like,
so the Circle Jerks were awesome. And had you seen the Descendents before?
No. So
what'd you think of them?
I thought they were really good. I thought, like, the Circle Jerks, like, everything I bitched about. So what's funny is everything I just bitched about the Adolescents, it's kind of almost not the reverse. Like, so I have this thing with Willie Nelson that he drives me nuts because he sings like off, like he uses weird signatures and stuff when he sings, and it drives me fucking nuts. And so I assume Keith Morris was just having fun. So he do some fucking off time stuff, and I'm like, hey. And I like the second song, I looked at Fred, I was like, is he way out of time or is it just me? But it was him fucking around. Just having, you know, like, dude, I've done this song fucking for 40 years. I'm just going to tweak this a little just to do. I mean, but for the most part, they were fucking phenomenal. Like, I was happy that I went and saw them again to kind of reset my thought process towards them. Like, they definitely put on a better show. Their fucking drummer, I forget the guy's name. I was just like watching him the whole fucking time. So initially I thought it was him, like that's what was throwing everything out of sync, because the bass player did a lot of like watching him play, and I don't remember the names of the people. Sorry.
Are you talking about the drummer of Circle Jerks?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Joey C.
Yeah.
He's the dude. He played in like Queens of the Stone Age and some other bigger band.
I wouldn't know their song if it was played for me, but I trust you and Keith Morris that that's what he did. But with that being said, and he's been with them a while, so what I was saying, Fred's like, no, that's the same guy that was with him when we saw him. I'm like, okay. I was like, I believe you. But I was like, is it just that there's a hearing thing that's going on? But nah, it was just Keith Morris fucking around.
Gotcha.
But the Descendants. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the Descendants. Yeah, they were really good. I mean, they played a lot of like, it was probably a 50-50 set, like new catalog versus old catalog. And what's old catalog? I don't know. Anything past probably Enjoy or, you know, mid 90s. Like, it was basically half and half. They played new shit. I had no idea what it was, but they were good. He had this fucking bedazzled fucking water bottle. What
he's still rocking that thing.
Yeah, dude, it was funny. I'm like, and he's as big a nerd as I think I thought he was back in the day. Yeah, he is that nerdy. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, he like literally wears that water bottle hip pack thing or shoulder strap water bottle thing. It's like that's some like dad ass tourist fucking item.
Dude, so the best was when the Circle Jerks came out to play, fucking Keith Morris came out with like 2 bags of shit and basically put them beside the drums. So I don't know if they've had rough times in Baltimore before and shit got lifted, but he came out with like 2 fucking like reusable bags of shit and hit them beside the drums while they
like
were
personal belongings.
Yeah, I assume that's what it was. It wasn't like he was throwing shit out into the crowd. It was like
Gotcha.
it was like 2 bags of stuff that he put out beside it when they were, and then I guess when the lights went down, they took it out. But it was so funny. I'm like, what the fuck is he bringing? I was like, motherfucker, if he has a t-shirt gun, I'm gonna be pissed. But no, it wasn't that at all. It was just like weird. And then when Milo came out at the bottle, I'm like, really? I was like, you can't use the water out of the water bottle, but it was cool. They were really fucking good.
That's cool.
I mean, but overall, no, so with that being said, they were probably like the Adolescents were on that level of how good they sounded. Like that's the part that blows my mind. Like to walk away and just listen to like the live recording, I could say that the Adolescents sounded just as good as everybody else, if not better. Like that shit was tight. But to watch it, you're like,
yeah. Like, I think pretty much your experience is exactly what I thought of them too. Well, I'm glad that you got a rebate on the Circle Jerks though, because like I said, when I saw them, I thought they were fucking cool, man.
Yeah, and they were, and it was, but it was funny is they definitely played like they were in the right order. Like the Circle Jerks performed better than the Adolescents, yeah, and Descendents were played like it gave a better show to me than the Circle Jerks did. Like everything kind of lined up as it was supposed to. You weren't like blown away. It was like Circle Jerks should have headlined that show because they were just fucking killing it. That wasn't it. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I think if anything, I wish they did more old songs. The Descendents. I think there are some old fucks like myself. Like we got in the elevator to fucking leave. And the old guys, why don't they just play the fucking old stuff that we're here to see? Like he was so angry about it. I was like, yeah, I wasn't that mad about it because I understand in the catalog or Gavin's thoughts of the Descendants are much different than mine because mine stops at like 95 versus his still going. So I'm there, and I think if anything, it was like a 60-40 or like 55-45 kind of split. Like it was pretty much like old and young. Like it kind of, there was a good mixture of people, adults and chitlins. Though I do have to say that there was a fucking people who brought a baby and like a 3-year-old to the fucking show. It's like, just fucking blows my mind. I'm like, I guess I couldn't get a babysitter. I don't know if that show was worth fucking dealing with 2 kids while I'm trying to watch the bands, but everybody's different.
Or it could be very well that like their parents who just really love the Descendants and like wanted to be able to say that their kids saw them with
before.
Them
oh my
like
god!
That.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. Oh, but I mean, it was cool. I got my record. We cheated. I think fucking Dave and Jason stood in the line like when they got there.
What you got, like the split 7?
I got the split 7. Fred and I cheated like near the end of the fucking the Adolescent set. We rolled up and there was like 2 people in line in front of us instead of the fucking snake line that was existing prior. I'm like, fuck yes. So that's
the way it was when we went to see that Vandals Christmas show. They had like the fucking like little, like turnstile rope things where you just like back and forth. Dude, that thing was like 8 sections wide and people were then like just to get like Vandals merch, and they had some cool shirts and stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm not waiting in that shit to get like a fucking shirt. Like that's fucking
And that's
stupid.
what it like. And I looked at it, and when I caught up with Jason, or Jason found us, he was like, "Yeah, Dave's still in line." I was gonna text him and get me a record. He's like, "Yeah, you can't. They only let you get one." I'm like, "Motherfucker, dude," because that's all I wanted. Though I did get a shirt too. I feel
that's cool though that they only let you get one,
Yeah.
so like people aren't buying like 10 to resell them like dickheads.
so. I totally and somebody posted a clip, or it was like a fucking meme or whatever. It's like buying merch from a band, like how much the band makes versus what a million fucking downloads looks like.
Yeah.
It's like they're making more money from a fucking you buying a t-shirt than they're making from having thousands and thousands of downloads, because the just fucking Spotify and those guys don't pay.
Yeah.
So I've started that practice because I really don't need any more fucking t-shirts. Though I have to say my Potty Mouth Records Thundercat t-shirt's pretty badass.
Yeah, did you get one for yourself?
Yeah, I bought one. Yeah, it's cool.
Cool. Nice.
I fucked up and got Amanda the wrong color, so she's not stoked, but it is what it is. I messed up. I apologize, Doodle.
So I actually have an interesting little tidbit to share, which is I've been grappling with this for the last week or so, and it's sad, but I also 110% respect it. Like the selfishness side of me doesn't want it to be true, but I also totally agree with it, and I think it's the right move in a way. But I guess like the Butthole Surfers have been working on this documentary that they're going to be putting out, and apparently they were working on a new final record, and this was from like 4 years ago or something. So they did a re-release. I think it was the 30 or 35th anniversary of Locust Abortion Technician, and they re-released it as a 10-inch vinyl with sort of like more like the hit songs off of it. And I remember seeing it in the store, and they had a sticker on it that said new album coming 2019. And so anyway, like Butthole Surfers fans were like super excited and whatever. And then like a year or two went by, and like COVID and everything. And then the guitar player put out a new solo record, and that was like the first thing he had put out in like 30 years. And then rumors started to come out about the fact that he put out a solo record because like half the songs that were on this solo record were songs that were supposed to be on the new Butthole Surfers record, and that got scrapped for whatever reason. So I was like super bummed about that. And then I don't know, there's still been some like rumors going around over the last few months that maybe there was still going to be a record coming out. But then the bass player, he has a new record coming out in June, which I just pre-ordered. And apparently like half the songs on his solo record are his songs that were supposed to be on the new Butthole Surfers record. So it's pretty obvious now that that's definitely not happening. And then just last week, a news article came out that they've been turning down like 6-figure offers to play shows.
What?
Yeah, and they did. Do you know who Matt Sweeney is?
Name sounds familiar, but
he's a guitar player. He's the guy who does that internet show called Guitar Moves.
No. I'll probably see him
just
like him, but yes.
Yeah, he's just like a dude from the 90s who I think he played in some bands that were kind of bigger or whatever. But anyway, he does this show and he like interviews famous guitar players and talks about their techniques and stuff. And he did a interview with the guitar player and drummer of the Butthole Surfers, and he kind of like brought up about, them playing shows and what's going on. And basically they were like, they have like zero interest in playing shows. Like they don't want to play shows anymore. he's like completely content with just staying home, and he just likes making music in his studio. Like he doesn't want to play live anymore. Like the drummer apparently doesn't really want to play live anymore. So yeah, they've been like turning down like 6-figure offers to play shows, and I don't know, like I said, the super fan selfish side of me is like, fuck you, like play a couple more shows so I can go see you like one more time. But then I'm also like, you know what? Like I respect just drawing their line in the sand and being like, we're not fucking doing it. Like, I don't know. It's cool.
No, I'm totally, I'm with them on that. If they don't want to fucking do it, I mean, I don't want to say cash grab. You know, that's the whole
That's
thing.
what a lot of people have been saying, that like on the Butthole Surfers boards and stuff. It's like, we'd rather them just end it, and like, you know, the documentary kind of be like the final chapter in what they've done, and yeah, like just go out on a high note with that. Just,
yeah,
you know, immortalizing their legacy, and don't put out like a cash grab record and a cash grab tour if you're not into it.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, I was like, okay, like they're turning down 6-figure offers, but like what number would it take for them to change their mind? Or like really any band, because like I respect a band having integrity, but I'm also sort of like, if just someone throws just like the most ridiculous offer at you and you still turn it down, like, are you sort of being like a shitty family member? Because then like you could like what if, like, seriously, like there's a lot of fucking rich people in the world who have like eccentric taste in music, I'm sure. So like it's very possible there could be someone who's like, I want to see the Butthole Surfers play so bad, I'll give you $5 million.
Right.
To play like one show at a festival. Like, would you still turn that down?
Well,
like, it's crazy to think about. Like, but really, hypothetically, to be in that position, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because like you've already sort of put your line in the sand that like, we're not going to do this. But then if someone just hits you with this fucking price tag, it's just like, you just don't have to worry about anything ever again. Like, do you do it? I don't know.
All right. So it's funny, is I think about that, you know, with all the old bands you see coming out, is it like, you know, some of them, is it like them helping out the rest of the guys who didn't fucking, you know, either didn't plan life properly or got fucked up or got screwed over? And it's like, dude, I'm going to do you a solid and we're going to do this. You know, is it? But I think it's, you know, if they're all kind of set and shit's good, you know, do they have to?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I would respect it either way. Like, hey, you didn't want to play for 150,000, but someone's offering you 5 million. You're fucking stupid if you don't do that.
Yeah.
But also, if they turn it down, hey, like, fucking good on you for like saying no to that. Yeah, that's amazing. So I don't know. Like I
think it's funny because I think some of the first, one of the fucking unreliable as a kid, you go line up to see, because they fucking played. Sometimes they'd play, sometimes they wouldn't. They'd book shows and not show up. So, you know, it's like now all of a sudden they're fucking solid and part of like this touring hardcore circuit, which is, to me,
I'm sorry, who did you say?
I said Judge.
Oh, Judge.
Yeah, because back when we were kids, they were notorious for fucking being on bills and not showing up.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those. So it's funny to see like them show up and like, I don't know, everybody's like, hey. But, you know, I mean, do you remember that? I mean, it's funny to see a lot of these bands come back in. I know it's all cash grabs, but I do want to see some of them, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think maybe, you know, I'm sure it is like for the money, but also, you know, they're all different people now too. They're like 30 years older, and, you know, they're probably just at different points in their life, and they just still like to play music, and it's just easier to do that band than to start something new that like no one will give a shit about.
That doesn't get traction. Oh, I fucking totally. I think that's definitely really.
And I'd say most of those guys are just, they all have jobs and stuff. It's not like they're just living off of that. It's just a fucking cool, free way to travel a couple times a year. Like, cool. Like, we're gonna go play in Germany this weekend and like get to hang out in Germany for a couple days and like make some money and have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, and once again, I have no problem with people making money. I think that's a good thing. Especially a lot of those bands that didn't fucking get shit, You're touring for gas money. To have them come back now and actually get paid a little bit of money is fine by me.
Well, that was the Butthole Surfers. Apparently, like their whole first third of their career before they went major label, it was like they literally made like no money. They said it was like they were happy if they played a show. Like if a successful night was playing a show, making enough money to get gas to go to the next show and maybe have a little bit over to buy some beer and pizza.
Yeah.
And like that was success.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But hey.
Which probably actually says a lot about why they just don't give a fuck about playing. Like, you can throw all this money at us, but like we've been on the other end of the spectrum. So it's like
we put our time in, guys. Don't fucking worry about it.
Yeah, it's not gonna like throwing money at us like maybe just isn't that enticing to them. They went so long without it. Like they just, and whatever, like the guitar player, that dude doesn't need money anyway, because I saw some other interview with him and he wouldn't like go into numbers or anything, but he produced the Sublime record.
Oh.
So
yeah.
So he basically was like, the residuals I get from producing that record, like that's like that dude has a lot of fucking money, I'm sure.
Right. I don't have to do a whole lot more.
That's crazy, man. Like whatever, that's a whole different topic we could get into. And I think we may have talked about it before actually a little bit, but he's actually produced like a lot of pretty like big name bands. So
oh really? Yeah, I don't know.
Like some records that like were huge. Like I think I'm not 100% certain about this. I think he might have had something to do with one of the first two Stone Temple Pilots records.
Yeah. He probably.
But anyway, yeah. So
he probably he was crushing it at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cool. Well, you want to wrap this up?
Wrap this fucker up like a Subway sandwich.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm stoked that you got your redo on Circle Jerks. I feel like that's a sad thing to have a band that important in your life and then have like a bad experience. Like you want to have a good experience with one of your favorite bands.
Yeah, it was. Thinking they were shit sandwich, do that. But yeah, it was cool. Got to see a ton of people that sadly we saw at Blake's thing. 2 weeks later, we see him at Circle Jerks. Yeah, so it was weird.
Yeah,
but all in all, very good. Stoked. Am I mad I missed the Dwarves? Yes, but that was we had stained glass, and I really wanted to do stained glass. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Yeah, we're actually seeing the Dwarves in a couple weeks or like next month or something.
Oh, that's awesome. I will next time they come back do it. I'm trying to get out into the public more. It's not very good, but trying.
I think the Dwarves may be the punk band I've seen the most times live.
I told Amanda, I was like, this is one you could probably go to. It would be fine.
Yeah. I think this might be the sort of like encroaching on the 10th to 11th time I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, that's good though. I mean, I need to get out more. We talk about that.
They're always good. They're always a fun time.
All right, so fuck it. On that, adios, fuckers. Motherfuckers.
Yep, later.
This podcast was brought to you by Potty Mouth Records. Contact us at pottymouthrecords@gmail.com and find us on the web at pottymouthrecords.rocks. That's .rocks.
That was way better than I expected.
POTTYCAST podcast.